Okay. All right, guys. Just to let you know, recording has started. So this session is now recorded. So, guys, as per the topic of discussion, we are supposed to discuss a requirement gathering management plan, or how we get the requirements and what are all the activities and documents that we prepare in the requirement gathering. But before I get into that, of course, I would really appreciate if you can let me know what is your perspective and insight in terms of requirement management. What actually happens in requirement gathering, requirement management plan, what are all the documents and what are all the actions that you need to do pre-requirement gathering and post-requirement gathering, and how you actually do it. Yes, guys. Yes, guys. Please tell me, especially the people who have gone through with this topic and giving interviews.
Hello.
Hanji, Hanji Mamta.
So, as per my knowledge, I think requirement gathering is the more core responsibility of a BA. Like from requirement gathering, we understanding the requirement from the client, what the client actually wants and needs from us to their application. And on the basis of requirement gathering, our whole SDLC based, because um, if a BA does not understand the requirement properly from the client, that they does not able to give proper resolution to the client. And for requirement gathering, we use different kind of technique, like workshop and interviews with the client. And if I talk about the documentation part, firstly we receive the request for information from the client, and in response to that we give request for proposal. We give request for proposal to the client, and when they approve the request for proposal and all the requirement gathering is done, then we move to the BRD part. We make BRD, in which we give a detailed information about the application, and then we get the, if that approved by the client, then we get the sign off. And if client want any kind of changes in that, then we do the version change, or upgrade the version, and then we give it to the client. So this is as per my knowledge of the requirement gathering or requirement management.
Okay. Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody else who would like to let us know? Yes, guys. Anyone? Okay. All right. Yes, what Mamta has mentioned, that is what it is. Just to extend it, I mean, देखो, requirement gathering, first you need to understand there is a pre-sales requirement gathering and then there is post-sales requirement gathering. Pre-sales requirement gathering means कि client is not onboarded, client is just showing interest, ठीक है? An aspiring client who uses the same kind of product which your company is developing or developed, or who wants to use a product which is relevant to our product. Okay. So with this, we initiate the initial demonstration, presentation, and requirement gathering, wherein from the high level perspective, we show our product and service to the client. Of course, the client asks for request for information, and we, demonstrate, we present in pre-sales meeting. I, alongside with my product owner as a business analyst, alongside with my solution architect or tech lead. So we show it to the client in the, stage environment or production environment, that this is what we bring into the table, and this is how our product would be efficient and effective for their business practice. So therein we generate RFIs, which is request for information. Then we provide request for proposal. Once it gets approved, then we carry on with the request for quotation or budgeting part. So that's your pre-sales requirement gathering. Post-sales requirement gathering, the framework or the workflow is First, we create the business requirement document. We initiate and we revise it as per the business requirement document. Once it is approved, then we carry on with the project planning. Project planning could be for the complete project or could be for the modules, couple of modules or one module at a time for 6 months, 9 months, 3 months. Accordingly, we can do the project planning. And then with the project planning, we create the product backlog. Then from the product backlog, we create the sprint backlog. For the sprint backlog, now we need to start the sprint. Sprint could be 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depending. Okay. So we do the requirement gathering meeting before the sprint starts or before the epic starts. जैसे कि I used to say or I used to do कि हम लोग 3 or 6 sprints में we start the release. And with every release, we do the UAT, user acceptance testing. With every user acceptance testing, we do the system sprint retrospective. With every sprint retrospective, we are also doing the requirement gathering with the client and the company owner. So you can say this, that every quarter you do the requirement gathering with every release or epic release done and epic start. Or you can say we do monthly sprint and we do requirement gathering meeting with the client every month. So before the sprint starts, we do the requirement gathering. And once we do the requirement gathering, then we revise the sprint and then we complete the sprint, complete the epic. Then we again do the requirement gathering for the sprint or epic. And then this is how it is a iterative cycle. Okay. So this is your, workflow for the requirement gathering. What happens? What are all the documents that we prepare for the requirement gathering? So before we I'm talking about the post-sales requirement gathering. So we prepare the user stories, use cases, FRDs, or SRS as and when required, depending on the company culture. So you remember product backlog? Product backlog, so we create the sprint backlog. So with sprint backlog, let's say now we have 10 tickets. So in 10 tickets, we are supposed to create 20 user stories, including the use cases. So with these 20 user stories, we create the documents. So this is a initial user story. So we show it to the client, then we ask for, what's your expectations, what's your enhancement, what's your customization, what's your issue. And then let's say these 20 tickets converted into 30 tickets because client will give us change, client will give us enhancement, client will give us issues, client will give us customization. So accordingly, out of 20, it will become from 20, it will become 30 tickets. So with these 30 tickets, we will revise the user stories. We will revise the use cases. We will revise the FRD or SRS, whichsoever the document that we are creating. And with this revised documents, we get the approval done. And then we do the internal grooming section that these are the approved tickets. Um, these are the approved tickets or approved user stories or document. And this is what we need to design, develop, test, and deploy. So we will show it to the client. I'm sorry, we'll show it to the Scrum team. So this is the process wherein initially or a revised way, we create the documents and do all these activities. Okay. As of now, any question, any doubt, any ambiguity, any issues, we'll go deep onto this as well.
Yes,
But as of now, Anjit Tarun bhai.
yes, Rohit. I do have a question. As
Yes,
in the
yes, please.
pre-sales requirement gathering, we are not having interaction with the client. So who will kick
No,
off
no,
this
we
meeting?
have. We, of course, that is why it's a requirement gathering, na, that we connect with the client.
No, as a BA or a product owner or a tech lead, we are not in touch with the client because we are selling our product. So who will kick off the meeting?
You're talking about pre-sales, right, Tarun?
Yeah, pre-sales. Yeah.
Pre-sales में क्या होता है? What happens actually in pre-sales? There is a sales team. Sales team, they generate a lead, जिसको lead generation बोलते हैं. They generate a lead, they show it to the CTO, they show it to the product owner, or they show it to the dev lead or tech lead, or they show it to the product team, whosoever is responsible. So when I used to work as a product owner, so I alongside with my CTO and pre-sales lead and tech lead, all four of us usually connect with the client, and we used to do to and fro questions. Our product was into entire recruit. So we ask questions about their requirements, their business problems, their business cases, what actually they are using at this point of time. And then accordingly in the pre-sales meeting, we note down all the, this is what happens in request for information. We note down all this information and then we send it to the client that this is what we can provide. This is what we can propose. That's your request for proposal. So this is what we do requirement gathering in pre-sales. However, in post-sales, it is much more deeper, much more elaborative, and it's a unit base. Let's say MS Teams. If MS Teams is my product, so and you are my client. So I'll say, I have MS Teams. You can use it in web. You can use it in mobile. It has a chat feature. It has a people feature. It has a raise feature, emoticons feature, more feature, mic, camera. You can add or remove. You'll have the admin rights. I'll give you high level information, and I'll try to understand what sort of professional media that you are using for your internal company meetings, and then I'll note it down. And then I'll do the comparison as per market and competitive analysis. So this is what I'm doing, pre-sales requirement gathering. But in post-sales, now that I have to develop it according to your expectations. So I'll inform you about the chat feature thoroughly, that I have a chat feature. You can use alphabets, numbers, special characters all together. You can use attachments. This is the attachment limit, 25 MB or 30 MB or 50 MB. You can share screens. Okay, you can use emoticons. So I am giving unit by unit feature information so that I can ask for more information from the client side, that what exactly they are looking in. So that's the difference between pre-sales and post-sales requirement gathering. Okay, Tarun and all, did you get this point?
Yes.
Yes, right.
Okay, देखो. What actually happens is requirement gathering, there are a lot of techniques. Okay. Techniques means, how you actually do it. There is a documentation technique. There is an interview or workshop technique. There is a, UI UX technique. There is a, questionnaire or survey or observation technique. Okay. Wherein, in a requirement gathering, first you need to understand that, initially what exactly is your product or service. Only then you would be able to connect with the client, whether it is pre-sales or post-sales, which means you should know what is your product or service vision, to what extent, to what limit you can go beyond obligation or limitation. Okay, so that you can have the decision making and problem solving at the time of requirement gathering. Okay, decision making as in proactively, this is what you can provide out of scope, and problem solving as in if they expect more things out of less things, so how you can enhance and improvise. Okay, what exactly, we need to make sure that the workflow of your requirement gathering management should be vision discovery. You need to create the product backlog, like I said, take a prioritization in sprint backlog, iterative requirements, Okay, connect with internal Scrum team in terms of grooming session, and then of course you test it accordingly, and then do the retrospective. Okay, and how you do the requirement gathering? There are different techniques, like I said, documentation, interviews or workshops, UI, UX, observations, questionnaires, surveys. Okay, but in a real-time scenario, what actually happens is that key. There is let's say today is 30th of October. Today is what? Today is Thursday. So my CTO says ki, yeah, Rohit, 31st of October, Friday, we will do the requirement gathering for the upcoming epic. ठीक है 6 sprint करेंगे हम इस epic में and make sure that all the points are there. So what I will do, I already have the project planner. I already have the sprint backlog. I know that from 1st of November, what are all the tickets, what are all the sprint backlog that I have to discuss with the client. So I will create a agenda of the meeting, a mail. Okay, I'll create an agenda of the meeting mail wherein I will include all those user stories or tickets or Jira cards or activities that is supposed to be discussed in the requirement gathering. Okay, we'll discuss 6 sprints. Take 2 weeks of sprint. So we will be discussing one complete epic for 3 months, a quarter. Okay, so I'll discuss all those tickets. I'll connect with the client. Whosoever, acha, mail will go to each and every team member, but the invite will go to those people who will be the part of the meeting. That's how the executive assistant or personal assistant creates the mail or drafts the mail. Okay, so I used to get the invite to in the requirement gathering meeting. So we connect with the client, and it's more or less like a group discussion. ठीक है and brainstorming session जैसे कि the way we are doing it, we are discussing on some point and you are understanding it, you are bringing your points, so it's the same forum, same platform. So we all discuss on the agenda of the meeting, all those tickets, all those mails, all those activities, all those actions, and accordingly we ask questions from the client side. Do you have any expectations, customization, changes, enhancements, and we note it down. And then accordingly we make the changes. So Turaki, there are two types of user stories: estimated user story and change request user story. Estimated request user story, you can say that these are the default one that we discuss or that we create before the requirement gathering meeting. Once we discuss and once there is any change, then it becomes change request user stories. And there is another user story, change request user story, which comes for the previously delivered sprints or epics, or which comes as a enhancement, or which comes as an escalation. So that is also known as change request user story. So we will cover up all these change request user stories alongside with estimated user stories, and then we get the approval, and then we do the internal grooming session. ठीक है ऐसा थोड़ी ना कि it's nothing like that कि you discussed yourself, you created document yourself, you got the approval done, and then you just share it and assign it to the developers, designers, testers, release team, deployment team, that this is what needs to be designed, developed, tested and deployed. Yes, of course, you will be doing the grooming session wherein you will groom them, you will inform them that this is how this is supposed to be designed, developed, tested, and deployed. And then when 1st of November comes, everyone will have a ticket in their Kanban board, in their kitty, that this is what needs to be done according to the role that they are playing in the project. Whether it is a business analyst, whether it is a tester, whether it is a designer, whether it is a mobile app developer, web developer, whosoever is responsible, they will get their tickets accordingly. And BA will allocate those tickets on their team lead. Okay, I'm going to be sharing my screen. As of now, any question, any doubt, any ambiguity, any issues? Yes, guys. Yes, no, maybe. Yes, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Rohit bhai, you are audible.
Take it,
Clear.
take it. Any doubt, any question?
No
No,
question.
Rohit.
No, please go ahead.
Take it. All right. Guys, let me show you. This is what a requirement gathering management plan. ठीक है. अब guys, एक practical change. What usually happens, I mean, this is what I experienced and this is what I used to do. It doesn't mean, I mean, have to be, it doesn't like that ki, it has to be done with client only. Okay. I don't know if you have heard, I have mentioned it in the interview as well, live interview, that not always it's the client. Sometimes every quarter or every sprint, it is the product owner who gives the requirement. Okay. Sometimes it is the client and sometimes it is the product owner. Okay. Whether it is a reactive requirement gathering or proactive. ठीक है जैसे कि infection fatigue management system or infection management system and fatigue management system, they both were given by the product owner. I'm sorry, CTO to me. Okay. It was like a proactive approach that we've done, and we gathered all the requirement from the CTO side. Okay, this is what we will provide to the client. And leave management system, learning management system, and timesheet and shift scheduling and roster management system, it was given to us by the client side. And vendor management system and application tracking system, that were our vanilla or cream products. So we directly gave it to the client. Okay. So what happens is that key product owner directly connects with the client, or company owner, senior management directly connects with the client and takes the requirement, understands the requirement, and provide us the feedback. And according to the feedback, according to the proposal, we create the, project planner, product backlog, sprint backlog, and do the internal grooming session after we get the approval done for the documents that we have prepared. And sometimes it is the client, like in my other company, every quarter we connect with the client. Okay. So in this client meeting, we do two things. One thing, we do the sprint demo that we have delivered or will be delivering in the live environment. And we do the UAT and give the username and password to the client. And second half, we connect with the client for the next sprint or epic for the requirement gathering. Okay. So it was like a 2 hours session, 1 hour for the current sprint and 1 hour for the requirement gathering of next or upcoming sprint or epic. Okay. So this is what I used to do in the real-time environment. However, first, we need to understand the management plan for the requirement gathering. So you need to first make sure that vision and discovery, the initial phase, that means you need to understand the product vision. Okay, only then you will be able to understand the business need and objectives of the client. यानी कि collaborate with stakeholders to define product vision and identify high-level business needs and objectives, which means, by if you are not able to understand your own product or service, if I do not understand what are all features and sub features and sub to sub features and sub to sub to sub features, then how would I be able to pacify the client if client asks me that I need a feature which is something like that? So I will say, yes, we have that feature, we already have that availability. Okay, that's how we identify the high level business needs and objectives. Okay, only then we will do the, we would be able to justify the client's requirement in terms of their expectations. And if client gives us some sort of, you know, over and above enhancement or requirement, which is currently not available as per the technology stacks or limitation or obligation, we will do the market research and competitive analysis and feasibility analysis so that we can accommodate it in upcoming time. Okay. Once we have done the requirement gathering, okay, once we have understood it, then we create the backlog, which is product backlog. Okay, then we create the sprint backlog in order to understand that, okay, this is what needs to be time estimation, task delegation, resource allocation, and ticket prioritization. Then we create the user stories as per the requirement gathering that we have done. And it has to be clear, concise, and testable. Two things you need to make sure that during, you know, requirement gathering, usually they ask you this question ki, ठीक है, Rohit, okay, you are a part of a requirement gathering and you have done a requirement gathering, lot of requirement gathering. What according to you is a good requirement gathering? So I always say that I always ensure that I have ran the SMART analysis and I have completed my Reiki matrix. SMART is SMART. Reiki is RACI. SMART means when I am doing requirement gathering, I am doing specific, measurable, accountable, reliable, testable, which means I am discussing specific. That means all those tickets, which is specific to the sprint. I'm not talking this and that. I'm talking very specific requirement. Measurable, I am able to prioritize it. I am able to time estimate it. I am able to allocate it. I am able to delegate it. So it is measurable. Accountable, I know who is responsible and accountable for this. Okay, because I will be task delegating it. Resource allocation. Okay. Then it is reliable. All the information that is there in the requirement gathering meeting as per the client's requirement, I have documented and revised my user stories, use cases, or FRDs accordingly, and it is the correct and transparent information. So it's reliable. And of course, it is testable because we will do the design and develop in order to test it. Okay. So this is what smart analysis or smart technique is all about. It should be specific, measurable, accountable, reliable, and testable. Okay, and then I ensure that I have created a Reiki matrix, RACI matrix. तो कोई रेसी बोलता है and some says Reiki. So Reiki means RACI. Whosoever is responsible, whosoever is accountable, whosoever is consulted, and whosoever is informed. User stories, who is responsible? Business analyst is responsible. Who is accountable? Reporting manager or product owner is accountable. Whosoever is consulted, the complete Scrum team is consulted. And whosoever is informed, of course, the senior management and client is informed. Okay, that's how you bring into the table Reiki matrix. Once you have done the smart analysis and Reiki matrix, then you can say that your requirement gathering meeting is a good one because you have asked all the expectations, all the changes, all the issues, all the customization that client is expecting. Okay, so that's how you do the requirement gathering. And then of course you do the iterative requirement refinement, which means that you ensure that with the internal grooming session and during the internal grooming session, you connect with your team during the sprint planning and you groom them accordingly so that everyone is aware what is the acceptance criteria as per the documentation, whether it is a user story, whether it is a FRD, use case, or SRS. Okay. And then you, of course, collaborate and feedback loops. You connect and discuss it with your stakeholders, which is your Scrum team. You discuss it on a daily basis during the sprint, and you get feedback from the client as well as from the internal stakeholder, which is your team, Scrum team. And then accordingly, you do the validation and testing, and then finally you do the retrospective. So that is how you ensure that you have done a effective requirement gathering management plan. Okay, guys, any question, any doubt, any ambiguity, any issues as of now? Yes, guys, please tell me. Yes, guys. Yes, no, maybe. All
रोहित
good?
भाई, आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन। जो आपने ये दो चीजें बताई है, स्मार्ट एनालिसिस और रेकी मैट्रिक्स, ये इसका कोई
हाँ।
डॉक्यूमेंट अवेलेबल है हमारे लिए, मतलब जस्ट, या
Yeah,
फिर जस्ट
वो
हम
तो
नोट करें?
I'll have to check it in the Google Drive. There might be a possibility. I'll check it, and if I find it, I'll share it. लेकिन स्मार्ट तो इट्स अ टेक्निक,
ओके।
ठीक है। जैसे कि टेक्निक लाइक, अब जैसे हम वी आर डिस्कसिंग, तो वी आर डिस्कसिंग ऑन अ स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट, ठीक है, विच इज व्हाट, विच इज रिक्वायरमेंट गैदरिंग, ठीक है। It should be measurable that within 1 hour session or within 2 hour session or within 3 hour session, we would be able to complete it. Okay. Who is
ओके।
accountable? You and I are accountable in order to understand and convey the message. Who is the information that I am saying and the information that you are listening, it is reliable. And the document which will be incorporated and approved, it would be reliable, and it would be testable, that once it goes to other person, they would be able to test it accordingly, that this document is correct or not. So that's a technique. And Reiki matrix, it is a it's more or less like a Excel sheet, wherein as per the ticket, as per the activity, as per the Jira card or action, you define it that this person is responsible. Who is responsible? Rajiv is responsible. Who is accountable? Rohit is accountable. Who is consulted? Bhumika is consulted. And who is informed? All of us are informed. Okay, Rajiv and all.
अंडरस्टूड, अंडरस्टूड, अंडरस्टूड।
Okay, then comes different techniques. Guys, techniques, it totally depends upon company culture to company culture. Okay, there are different techniques. Okay, JAD sessions, joint application development sessions, questionnaires, interviews, surveys, prioritization, prototyping, wireframing. These are different techniques. Group discussions and brainstorming sessions. So this is what I prefer, that there should always be a group discussion and brainstorming session. However, you create a number of documents and you show it to the client that this is how the feature and its functionality will work. You will interview and you will workshop, wherein you conduct a stakeholder interview, which is you interview the client in order to understand the business requirement. Okay, or organize a workshop to collaborate the brainstorming sessions. Okay, or you create mock-up screens, wireframes, prototypes to show it to the client and get as much as information as possible so that you can understand the mindset of the client. Okay. Then of course you share user IDs and password to the client, and you ask them to observe and share their points or pain points. And of course, then accordingly, there would be a prioritization on the product backlog, and you create the sprint backlog accordingly for the requirement gathering, and then you show it to the client so that you can understand their mindset. Okay. However, still I would say that brainstorming and excuse me. Brainstorming session and group discussions, they are the best techniques wherein we all discuss we all bring on to the points that needs to be, addressed in order to understand the market. I'm sorry, in order to understand the client mindset so that we can get, because believe me and trust me, guys, it has happened that let's suppose ki I am to discuss this draw feature. Okay, and this draw feature is like colors, they look like this. This is the thinness, this is the thickness, and this is how it will act and react. And we can also do it in the comb or honeycomb format. And we just show it to the client that this is the as is feature of the draw. And then the client said ki after requirement gathering, after design, development, testing, deployment, client said, I wanted it in honeycomb format. And then you say, yeah, it is available in honeycomb format. Then the client would say, why did you not bring it onto the requirement gathering? Why did you not inform us? And it becomes an escalation. And it has happened very small points. If we don't bring into the picture, if we are not transparent, then clients bring in the escalations, and it brings a very huge hit on the SLA, service level agreement. Okay, so our point, our main activity, our main, as a business analyst, main role would be whatever the as is feature of the sprint or of the requirement gathering agent of the meeting, and whatever would be the to be, which is as is to be, which is reactive and proactive to be, which is out of scope to be, what we can do in the upcoming future or what we are thinking, we have to inform to the client in the requirement gathering for that particular point, so that client is well aware and it doesn't bring into the escalation that it was not informed during the requirement gathering. Okay, guys, any question, any doubt, any ambiguity, any issues?
No, right, bye.
Okay, all right. Elicitation is, requirement elicitation is one of that technique via which we can remove the unnecessary, or we can remove, I mean, usually requirement elicitation means we can elicitate those requirements which we cannot accommodate at the current sprint, or which we are thinking that we will be do it in the upcoming sprint. Okay. However, requirement elicitation over here, user stories, Agile relies on user stories to capture requirements in a simple customer-centric format. We should have a continuous feedback. That means customer success management or support and maintenance, via which we keep on working on the issues, we keep on knowledge transfer and knowledge training to the client so that we can have, you know, real-time feedback from the client side or from the end user that this is what they are facing the issue. Okay. We have to make sure that we prioritize the business needs, values, and feasibility to ensure that the requirements are up to date, and this is what client is expecting. And we keep on, collaborating, communicating within our internal stakeholders as well as external stakeholders, so that we can have a continuous feedback for the retrospective or continuous improvement. An adaptive approach in order to ensure that all the requirements, they are evolving as per the project progress and flexibility. Evolving means जब हम documents पे आएंगे, then you would be able to understand that we give enhancements to the client, whether it is reactive and proactive. Let's suppose कि my product is just a PDF. So it is save as, let's say a Word, save as, let's say CSV, or save as Excel. It is not available at this point of time. But client is expecting or you are thinking that we will bring save as a Word, Excel, and CSV would be available. So you have to inform to the client. So that is your reactive and proactive approach in terms of informing the client that this would be the as is and this would be the to be. Okay, guys, any question, any doubt, any ambiguity, any issues as of now? Yes, guys. Yes, no, maybe anyone, guys?
No, Rohit bhai.
Okay, all right. Guys, I'm really sorry about this, but I have a 4 o'clock interview, or I have to be the part of it, and 15, 20 minutes I have to, clear my throat. So I'm really sorry I have to wrap the session, but I will continue the requirement gathering. One more thing, guys, please make sure that you listen to all the recordings that I shared. It is very important, and make sure that you go through with the interview recordings that I share and make the notes accordingly so that you can use it in your own interview for better understanding. ठीक है guys,
Sure,
interviews
sure
have
bhai.
started, जो इससे कम थे लेकिन अब it has started. So people who are giving interviews, please make sure that you are back to back applying and calling, and I'm sharing the recent numbers to you guys. Make sure that you connect with them and keep me posted for all the interviews update that you go through. I'll share this recording. I'll share this recording right away in the Google Drive, and we'll continue the same topic in the next session, guys. Take care.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Rohit bhai.
Take care. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay safe and be safe, guys.